Today we're quitting the shortcuts. I'm going to show you how to turn your skills into income that actually lets you sleep at night. So put your clothes back on, delete the shady apps, and let's get to work.
I always find a way to make my money back.
Let's stop dancing around it. You've been told that money is money no matter how you get it. That as long as the bill's paid, it doesn't matter if you strip in your dignity for a subscription site, pushing fake crypto signals to desperate people, or running grey market scams that walk the line of a jail cell. When you sell your soul for a quick buck, you aren't winning the system. You're becoming a high-interest debt for your own future. Whether it's selling pictures of yourself to strangers, promoting gambling apps to kids, or drop shipping little trash that breaks in a week, you're digging a grave for your own character. Every dollar you make doing something that makes you cringe in the mirror is a dollar you'll eventually spend on therapy, trying to remember who you were before you put a price tag on yourself.
What's your least favorite part about being my personal assistant?
Probably making your bed in the morning, because it's like there's like white stuff and stuff in your bed, and I gotta put like gloves on, and it just makes me a little uncomfortable.
If you are doing it right now, stop. I don't care if the money is good. I don't care if it's your only way out. I don't care if you convince yourself it's just temporarily. It never is. The longer you stay in the mud, the more you smell like it. Shortcuts have a shelf life. The fast money world is a meat grinder. It loves you when you are fresh, and it spits you out the second you're not. You are trading your reputation, the only thing that gets more valuable as you get older, for a viral moment that will be forgotten by Tuesday. What's your plan? Do you really think you can just pivot to a real career after 5 years of being a professional distraction? There is no exit strategy for a lost character. You either have an integrity or you have a price tag. Which one are you? Real wealth, the kind that lets you sleep at night and look your family in the eye, isn't found in scams or 18+ websites. It's a truthful skill. You don't need tricks. You don't need to game the system. You need a craft. You don't need to be internet famous. You need to be useful. The second you stop looking for an easy way is the second you start building the real way. So put your clothes back on, delete the gray, shady apps, and look at your hands. What they can actually do. Because the world is getting very expensive, and the only people who will survive are the ones that have skill that machine or shortcut can't replace. It's time to stop renting your life and start owning your craft. Look, I'm not just here to tell you what not to do. I'm here to show you what actually works. Because once you stop chasing the easy money, you'll realize you have the massive problem. The normal way feels just as crowded. You look at the job market and you see a million people doing the same generic things. You think, I'm just another guy who knows how to write, or I'm just another person who can edit a video. If you're just average at something generic, you are still in the meat grinder. It's just a different machine. To win, you have to stop trying to be normal. You have to get weird.
With a chef's knife, it belongs to the chef, not to the kitchen. So it's your responsibility to keep it sharp, clean, not to lose it. Could you handle that?
Yes.
We need to be honest about the world we live in now. Average is officially worth $0. If your skill is something a basic AI can do in 10 seconds, like writing a generic blog post or making a basic logo, you don't have a career, you have a countdown clock. In a world of 8 billion people being pretty good at something common, it's a death sentence for a bank account. You aren't competing with the guy next door anymore, you are competing with an algorithm that doesn't sleep. But here is the cheat code. Your income lives in the things you know that other people found boring, confusing, or plain exhausting. What is that one thing you can talk about for 3 hours that makes everyone else's eyes glaze over? Most people hide their weird obsessions because they think they aren't professional enough. That is your biggest mistake. In this economy, specificity is a superpower. Look at the math. A video editor makes $25 per hour and begs for work. A video editor who only cuts high-stakes pitch decks for green tech startups makes $250 an hour. A writer is getting replaced by ChatGPT as we speak. A writer who understands the psychology of 1990s Japanese car culture is getting paid 5 figures by collectors to document their fleet. Why? Because your weirdness makes you ungoogleable. Ungoogleable? When someone has a very specific, very painful headache, they don't want a professional. They want a nerd who speaks their language. What is one thing you do for fun that feels like a puzzle to you but would feel like a heart attack to someone else? If you're a math nerd, don't just do data. Be the person who builds custom inventory trackers for local comic book shops so they don't go broke. If you're obsessed with organizing, don't just be an assistant. Be the person who sets up automated workflows for stressed out therapists who are drowning in paperwork. Weaponize your weirdness. Take your generic skill, writing, coding, talking, organizing, and smash it into the weirdest obsession. That intersection is where the competition disappears. When you are the only person who does that one specific weird thing, you don't have to sell your soul, you don't have to beg, you just need to show up and be the only solution in the room. So you've got your weird skill, you're ready to help, but then the guilt kicks in. You are terrified that the second you ask for $1, you've officially joined the ranks of the soul sellers we called out in chapter 1. You're afraid to be a salesman because you think selling is something you do to people. I'm going to show you how to flip that so that the people you help actually thank you for taking their money. Thank you so much. Here is the mindset shift that changes everything. Money is just a thank you note for a problem solved. If you wake up thinking, how can I get $500 of someone's pocket? You're a salesman. And yeah, that feels gross. But if you wake up and think, who is drowning in the problem that I can solve in 20 minutes? You aren't a salesman, you're a hero. Think about a plumber. When your basement is flooding at 2 a.m., you aren't buying a product, you are paying for the privilege of not having your house destroyed. You don't care about the plumber's brand or his marketing, you care that he has the range and the knowledge to stop with the water. In that moment, he isn't taking your money, he's saving your life. When you focus on solving problems, people seek you out. The salesman says, please buy my $500 logo design package. Cringe. The problem solver says, I notice your website is so slow that you're losing 40% of your customers before the page even loads. I can fix that today. Hero. See the difference? One is begging, the other is a rescue mission. If you have a weird skill that fixes a very specific, very painful headache for a specific person, you are doing them a disservice by not charging for it. If you don't charge, you can't afford to keep helping people. Selling isn't about taking, it's about the energy required to keep giving. Stop looking at your bank account and start looking at the pain to solution ratio. If a business owner is losing $10,000 a month because their systems are a mess and you charge them $2,000 to automate everything, you didn't take $2,000. You gave them back $8,000 and their sanity. When you solve a real problem for a real person, the selling part becomes invisible. You don't need a script, you don't need to lie, you just need to show them the hole in their boat and show them that you're the one holding the plug. Truthful income starts with being an answer to someone's prayer. Now here's the part they don't show you in the montage. You have the weird skill, you are ready to become a hero, but you're doing it for 2 months and your phone isn't ringing. You've sent the emails, you've done the work, and the silence is deafening. This is where most people fold, but the reason they fold isn't the lack of their talent, it's a lack of a calendar.
Persistence. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence.
Most people live their lives in 90-day cycles. They start a niche, they post for 3 months, they don't get internet famous or rich, and they quit. They call it a fail, and they pivot to the next trendy shortcut. But if you want to be untouchable, you have to understand the 1,000-day rule. It takes about 3 years, roughly about 1,000 days, to actually find your footing, build your network, and master your craft. The first 100 days are just for getting the bad work out of your system. The next 400 days are for building the foundation. And the last 500 days are where the compound interest kicks in. The boring middle is a filter. It is designed to actually weed out the people who don't actually care about their craft. If it were fast, everyone would do it. If it were easy, it would be average. And we already decided that average is worth 0. When you are day 200 and you feel like a failure, I want you to realize that you are currently in the process of becoming un-fireable. Every day you show up when you don't want to is a brick in the fortress that your competition isn't building. By the time you hit day 1000, you aren't just good at your weird niche, you're the only person left in the room. Everyone else quit 2 years ago. Stop looking for the exit and start looking for the depth. The world doesn't need more people who are pretty good at 10 different things. It needs one person who stayed 1000 days and become a master of one. Don't give up because it's quiet. That's when the foundation is being built. If you can survive being just okay for 1000 days, you will wake up on day 1001 and be a king in your niche. At the end of the day, money is just a paper, but your soul is eternal. You were made in God's image to build, to serve, and to create with dignity. If you are scared that the honest way is too slow, remember who is actually in control of the harvest. You don't need to cheat, you don't need to lie, and you definitely don't need to sell out to be provided for. Keep your head up and your hands clean. The world is expensive, but your character is priceless. Go build something you are proud of. I'll see you in the next one.